Hey guys! So, you might notice my setup looks a little different, and it's just because I'm actually sitting in my desk chair at my desk, which is like right in front of a bookshelf, so it's perfect. So it's nice because now it's kind of like more level. You know, I really like it. I'm really feeling it, so here we are. And it's like an L-shaped desk, so there's like a lot of space and a lot of room, which makes it just easier. Alright, so we are going to get in to this wrap-up, which this is my April wrap-up, which in the month of April, I managed to read a total of 19 books, which is pretty good, which we all know last month was fucking ridiculous. 42 books last month. This month definitely didn't have that happen. This month I played a lot of video games. I got this game on my 3DS, and it's Style Savvy, and it's like you own a boutique, and you dress all the people that come into your boutique, and like you get to do their whole entire outfit, and it's so much fun because I love clothes. Like, that's not really something I ever talk about, but I love clothes. I just never have the money to go buy clothes, but like, look at how cute the shirt I'm wearing is. Okay, but But I really love clothes and all that kind of stuff. I've never had the money to, like, buy the clothes, like, in the game. Like, I would die to have every single one of the items of clothing that's in there. And there's a bunch. Like, it's so much fun. But anyway, so I played a lot of that this past month. I played a lot of Blade and Soul on my gaming computer. I played... What else did I play? I think that might be all I played. Yeah, I played those. Of course, I did some jigsaw puzzles, because I do that. Oh, guys, I started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Let me tell you, that is one of my all-time favorite shows now. I love it. I love it so much. You guys, you don't understand how much I love it. It's such a good show. Basically, I was on Twitter, and I was scrolling, and there was this video, and it had Jake Peralta, and it was the Backstreet one. Like, you know, it's like been going around everywhere. And basically he has the lineup sing a song by the Backstreet Boys because that's how the person can identify the criminal. And he starts singing along with them, and it was like one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I'm like, I have to start watching the show. So I got on Hulu and I started watching the show, and I'm obsessed. I'm like on season 4, episode, like, I don't know. I'm somewhere in season 4, sort of at the beginning of it. And I love it because the episodes are like 23 minutes, and they're just like some of my favorite things. I just love watching them, and they're so funny, and they put you in such a good mood, so it's great. So yeah, so that was good. What else have I been doing this past month? Working a lot, because like, well, not as much. I did get a little bit of a break there, so that was good. But your girl is back to working those. Well, not this week. Next week and the next week, like, I'll be back to working the 5 days a week and just getting the weekends off. So, if you guys are wondering, I'm a receiver at a bookstore. So I receive all the packages. And yesterday, your girl got 142 packages. Oh, and I wanna die. I literally slept, like, I went to bed before midnight, and I slept until 10. I was so tired. Because I was supposed to get off at 4:30 yesterday. I stayed until 5:45 because of how many packages we got, and then instead, on Friday, I get off at 4:30, which is great, because then I'm off Saturday and Sunday, so it's like, I don't know why I'm doing this long intro. I just feel like some people, like, they'll tell you, like, what else they did the month, and I feel like I should tell you guys, like, what else I did, because I just didn't do as much reading as I normally do. So it's like, you're probably like, what the fuck have you been doing, dude? Because, like, all you normally do is read. And it's like, you ain't wrong. I did take part in Dewey's 24-hour readathon, so, like, the last 3 or so books, I read those in, like, a day, so that was good. I did the Owls readathon. I got like 9 owls. I meant to get all of them, but again, like, this month was just weird. We also had some unexpected deaths in, like, mine and Seth's family, so there was some shit going on. Like, whole buddy. April was a little bit of a train wreck. Like, low-key, it was a train wreck. But it's all good now. Everything's fine. We're all good. And we're getting better. And we're going to get into the video now, so I'm going to stop rambling. Okay, so the first book I read this month was Return to Del by Emily Rada, which is the last book in the Del Toro Quest series. And again, some of these books are books I've already returned to the library, so I won't have them to show you, but you already know this. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad that I finished the Del Toro Quest series. It was a lot of fun. They were just super quick and fun reads, just like really cool fantasy. They're kind of like, it was shelved in the YA section, but I feel like they're kind of have that middle grade quality to them, like the whimsicalness and just the kind of how they're structured, I guess I would say. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the entire series. Let me tell you though, your girl totally predicted all the little plot twists that happened at the end. I was like, I knew it. I fucking knew it, and I was correct. So that was the thing. But that's fine. You know, I enjoyed it. And then the next thing I read was High School Debut, Volume 7. I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars as well. I'm just really enjoying this manga. It's just really cute, and it's fun, and I like it, and that's all I gotta say about it, because it's Volume 7. I'm not gonna spoil you guys. Alright, oh god. I suck at stacking these. Okay, the next book I read was Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian, and I got this arc from work, because I'm the receiver and I get first dibs. Anyway, but I got this, and ooh, let me tell you, this was so good. Like, it was so good. Basically, it's about this girl, and, like, her kingdom, like, she's the princess, and her kingdom gets invaded, and they basically kill her parents and everything, and then they just take her, and she's basically kept prisoner in her own fucking castle, and everything, and they basically, like, they take away her name, they basically give her a different name, and she can't say her other name, and she is, like, it's terrible, and everything, and basically, this is just about her, like, her starting to basically wake up from, like, her, I guess it's called, like, Stockholm Syndrome or something. She basically kind of snaps out of it and starts, like, you know, plotting to fucking, get out and take care of her kingdom and, like, do all this shit and everything, and it was real good. It was real good. It kind of gave me, like, Throne of Glass vibes, but, like, in a really great way. And I really enjoyed it, so I'm excited for whenever the sequel comes, which is gonna be another but really good, highly recommend. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars, so. The next book I read, I hate my life, okay, was Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, the final book in the Illuminae Files series. I just stubbed my toe, if you're wondering what that face was. But I really enjoyed this. It was insane, like the other two. You never know with these books, like, what's gonna happen. I feel like you can't even, it's hard to even predict with these just because of how fucked everything gets. Like, everything gets so fucked up, and you're just left there like, what just happened? I'm so confusion. But I really enjoyed this, and yeah, I was a mess though when I was reading this. I was just like, no, wait, what, no, basically that's me. But yeah, obviously gave this a 5 out of 5. Highly recommend this series if you haven't read it yet. It's so good. Alright, let's see. The next book I read, I actually listened to the audiobook of this while I was at work, and that is Dorothy Must Die by Daniel Page. And I just read it because I was, like, really interested in it for some reason, even though I'm, like, not the biggest fan of The Wizard of Oz. Like, that movie low-key scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Like, I had a babysitter, and she had, like, the figurines of the peoples, like, of, like, the Wicked Witch and, like, Dorothy and all them, like, on her fucking mantle in, like, the den. And that was where she would make me take naps. And, like, I was so scared because the Wicked Witch was, like, right there. And I felt like she was staring at me. And I thought she was going to come alive and she was, like, going to kill me or something. Like, I was so scared of the Wicked Witch of the West, you guys. Oh, my God. It was, yeah. Anyway, that's a little story for you. But I gave it a 3.75 out of 5. It was all right. It was pretty good. Like, I enjoyed it, mainly because I thought the main character was so funny, and she was, like, super relatable, and I just loved, like, her personality was just great. That's really, like, my favorite part of the book was, like, her personality. I really enjoyed it. And I liked, like, the whole idea of, like, the wicked not really being the wicked and the good not really being the good. Like, I like how it, like, really had all these gray characters and, like, all these gray situations and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed, like, the play on that. I'm not sure if I will continue. I do think that the other books in the series are on audio on Hoopla, which is where I listen to this one, so I might. We'll see. Yeah, you never know. I'm not, like, dying to read the next one. It's not like, oh my god, I gotta read the next one right now. Like, it's like, maybe at some point it'll happen, you know. And the next book I read was The Copper Gauntlet by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, the second book in the Magisterium series. And I remember I read the first one, and I couldn't believe it, like, because I was like, this is going to be what the plot twist is at the end, and I was so wrong. Like, it was basically the plot twist I thought was going to happen, it was basically the plot twist of that plot twist, which makes no sense, but it does in my head. Anyway, but this book, it's so good. These books are so good, and I need to buy the next one, like, ASAP, which is great because these books are, like, super cheap. They're like $7.99, and then I get 30% off at my store, so I'm like, so yeah, I need to get the next one, like, ASAP. These books are so good, and they pack a punch for being, like, they're, like, under 300 pages, but they pack such a great punch, and I love these. They're so good. I can't really go into the plot of this one because, like, spoilers, but, like, loved it. So good. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which basically everybody on BookTube right now is talking about and reading and everything, and it's for good fucking reason, you know? Like, I would die for Evelyn Hugo. Like, not to be dramatic, but I loved this book so much, and I loved the characters and everything. It was so good, and the last bit of this fucking book, though, just, like, kill me. Seriously, it was so good. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend it. It's got amazing bi representation. Like, it's so good. It's so good. And I love Evelyn Hugo. And I love Evelyn Hugo. Like, she's such an interesting person. I talk about her like she's real, but, like, in my heart she is. But, like, she's so interesting, and she's just got so many of these, like, amazing traits and everything, and I love her, and she's so intelligent. Like, she is just so intelligent, and I just love characters like that. And I'm not making any sense, you guys, but it's a 5 out of 5 if you couldn't tell already. Highly recommend. Go read it and then come scream about it with me, is basically what I feel like. The next book I read was Shadow Magic by John Lennon. I couldn't, or Lehana, something like that. Anyway, and if you're wondering, wow, that's really thick, this is the whole trilogy, and I just read the first book, which is called Shadow Magic, and I really enjoyed it. This is hilarious, and this is, like, I just found this one day when I went to Half Price Books, and I was like, huh, and I read the back of it, and it just sounded really interesting, and it's basically about this kid, Connor, and he lives with his dad, and his dad is like a super eccentric guy. Like, he knows so many languages, and basically he made Connor learn them, and he'll talk to him in the morning in a certain language, and if Connor doesn't talk back to him in that language, then he just won't talk to him for the whole day. Like, he has to talk to him in whatever language he starts with, and like, if he starts getting into this like one language, he like knows that his dad is in like a bad mood or something, and I'm just like, this is the funniest shit, and it's so good. Basically, his dad is this prince, like this absurd prince of a throne in this land, and basically his fucking evil ass uncle and aunt or whatever, they come and they kidnap them and take them to the land, and he's always been told that his mom is dead and she's not, and it's this whole adventure and everything, and it's so good, you guys. Like, nobody has talked about this ever, but like, I'm talking about it. You should go get it. It's really, really funny, and it's really good. Like, I have never read a fantasy that's like this funny. Like, it's so funny, and it's really enjoyable, and I love the world. Like, I love how it's crafted and everything, and I just love all the humor. It just makes it so much more fun. So yeah, totally recommend. And I gave that one a 4 out of 5. I am dying. The next book I read, another audiobook that I listened to at work, and that was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Basically, I did this because everybody talks about this fucking book, and I was just sick of not knowing why everybody talks about this fucking book, because you hear so many people like saying, oh, it's just like every other YA fantasy ever, and I don't know why so many people like it, and then you hear all these people like, oh my god, it's so good, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I want to know why everybody talks about it all the time. And so I read it, or well, listened to it, whatever. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Like, it's pretty average, pretty you know. It's not anything like really original, and it does take a lot of tropes and everything. But I will say, like, I enjoyed our main character. I thought that she was really interesting, and I think that's really it. It was, like I said, it was okay. It wasn't the best thing. It wasn't the worst thing. It was just alright. I don't know if I'll continue on. I don't know if I really have a desire to. It was alright, you know? The next book I read was on my Kindle. And you guys, I am so mad. Like, I only spent like $1.99 on this book, but I'm mad that I even spent that much money on it. Like, I am angry, okay? And that book is These Vicious Masks by Taryn Shakru and Kelly Zeskas. Anyway, I read this and I thought, like, because I've been really in the mood for like Regency era, like Victorian England, that type of scene. Like, I love books like that are done well. And I thought I was gonna enjoy this. I was like, this should be right up my alley because it's got that time period, and it's got like a mystery element to it. Like, this girl's sister gets like kidnapped or whatever, and it's got some supernatural elements in it. I'm like, ooh, I should really, really like this. And I really, really didn't. This book was trash. It was trash. It was trash. I was so bored. Like, I was so fucking bored the entire time. And I just felt like we never got anywhere. Like, I felt like nothing really ever happened until maybe like the last 50 pages of the fucking book, and it made no sense. And like, the male characters, all of them seemed so similar, I almost couldn't tell who was who. Like, there were two that I always keep getting confused. The one guy, the one like that she has like the partnership thingy with, the one that like always helps her and everything, like him. And then, like, basically her love triangle guys, I guess is how I should say it. Like, they just seem so similar. I don't know. I just didn't like this book. I just really didn't like it at all. And I just didn't understand why anything happened. And I gave it a 2 out of 5 because I didn't enjoy it, really. Yeah. I didn't enjoy it. I don't want to recommend it. If you want a good book that is set in that era and's got supernatural elements, I recommend The Diviners by Libba Bray or The Dark Days Club by Alison Goodman. Those are 2 really good ones. Anyway, next book I read this month was Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls by Lauren Graham. And I listened to the audiobook at work, and guys, I listened to the audiobook because it's so good. Because it's like Lauren Graham narrates it, and there's literally this moment where she like stops and she calls her dad, and like you get to hear her talking on the phone with her dad, and it is the funniest shit because that's so her, and it's just great. And I loved it. And I loved hearing Lauren Graham. And I had it on 2 speed. Like, I always listen to my audiobooks on 2 times speed because people talk so slow. But Lauren Graham talks fast, and I had her on 2 times speed. And I could still understand her because I talk that fast. And I loved it. It was so good. And basically, it sounded just like, Lorelai on one of her rants. Because that's how fast I had it. But it was so fun. It was so enjoyable. I just enjoyed it so much, you guys. So much. The only thing I will say is I wish I had the physical book because she references a lot of pictures that are in the actual book. And I really wish I could have, looked at the pictures just to understand what she was talking about sometimes. Because she would, talk about specific things in Gilmore Girls. It's like, dude, I've seen Gilmore Girls 5-6 times. I can picture all those pictures, but other stuff that she was talking about, pictures of herself or her childhood home, I wish I could have looked at those. So I might grab a physical copy at work or something and just flip through it just to see. But you guys, if you like Gilmore Girls, because you should, if you don't, but I highly recommend. And the audiobook's really short. It's 4 hours, and then it's 2 hours if you listen to it at the speed I do. So it's really good. Highly recommend. And I loved it so much. There was a moment where I was over there crying. I was at work listening to this audiobook, and I'm just trying to, work. And I'm just, over there, oh my gosh. And there was another moment where I bust out laughing, and one of my managers was back there, and she's like, "Oh, is Jessica cracking up?" And I'm just like, "No, I'm listening to the Lauren Graham audiobook." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, that'll do it." And it was so funny. But yeah, I loved this book, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Highly, highly, highly recommend. The next book I read this month was The Rook by Daniel O'Malley. I really, really enjoyed this book. I did not expect to like it as much as I did. Basically, this was another, one of my owls or whatever. And this is just a book I've had for a while, and I really wanted to read. And it's basically about this woman, and she wakes up and she's surrounded by dead bodies, and it's raining, and it's in London. And it's so good, you guys. It's so good. Basically, this woman wakes up and she has lost all her memories. She doesn't know who she is. And there's basically all these letters from the person she was before because they knew that this was going to happen. And so they set stuff up to tell that other person who they were and all these stuff and everything. And there's 2 options. They can either open one safety deposit box that has enough money and a different identity and everything so that she can go live her life however she wants, do whatever she wants, or she can open the other box and that basically has her real identity, and she can continue living as who she was before her memories got lost, and it's got all this information and everything. And she ends up picking that one because of this thing that happens. You guys, it's so good. I highly, highly recommend you pick this up because it's so interesting. And it's a really good time, and it's super original. I've never read a book like this, so I highly recommend it. And and the tagline is really great, on Her Majesty's Supernatural Secret Service. It's really good. Yeah, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. It was a lot of fun. The next book I read was another audiobook that I listened to at work, and that was The Devil Wears Prada by, like, Laura Webenseger or something like, it's like, I think that's how you say it. Basically, for some reason, I think it was because I was playing that Style Savvy game I was telling you guys about before. Basically, I just was like, I really want to watch The Devil Wears Prada, so I watched it, and then I was like, I'm going to listen to the audiobook. And so I did, and you guys, I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I can't decide. I think I prefer the movie more, though, although I really enjoy, like how much Andy, like, talks shit about Miranda Priestley in the book, because in the movie we don't really get that, and in the book we get, like, her inner thoughts and everything, and it's so funny, you guys. Like, I laughed so much listening to this, because, like, she just says the funniest shit, and, like, talks so much shit about Miranda Priestley, and I love it. Although I have to say, I do not like her boyfriend in the book like I like her boyfriend in the movie, because they're very different. I prefer movie one over book one. But yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was fucking hilarious. Like, it was a lot of fun, and I loved getting her inner thoughts. I think that's something that we really missed out on in the movie, and that would have made it a lot better to, like, hear, like, what she was thinking when she was having to do all this crazy shit. And another thing is that because in the book they could, like, show a lot more of this crazy shit that Miranda had her do. Oh, man. Like, literally, the beginning of the book is, like, when she already has the job and everything, and she's basically, like, doing this insane mission or whatever, and then she goes back and, like, says, this is how I got here, basically. But it's so funny. It's so funny. And, like, there's... Okay, so, like, you know when Andy, like, walks into the building and she has to go by those guys and, like, go through that little gate? Well, in the book, she's, like, friends with that guy, and he makes her sing a different song every day to get to go in. So, like, one day, it's, like, what was one of them? Fuck, one of them was, like, a Britney Spears song and stuff, and she has to, like, act it out, too. She has to do, like, a little dance. It's funny as shit. I loved it. And it's funny as the audiobook, because you actually hear them singing it, so that's great. Yeah, so it was funny. The next book I read was Dropkick Romance, which is a poetry collection by Cyrus Parker, which is actually Amanda Lovelace's husband. And she actually does the foreword for it, and it's super cute. And basically it's, the first part of the collection is about this abusive relationship that Cyrus had before he met Amanda. And then the second part is about him and Amanda's relationship. And I really identified with, like, the first part of the book because I had a relationship like that. And then I loved, like, the cuteness of the second part with, like, his and Amanda's relationship and everything. I thought that was great. So yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I super, super enjoyed it. And I highly recommend it. It's really good. The next book I read was Lies We Tell Ourselves by Robin Talley. And this is something that I had started back a little while ago, but I only read, like, the first 90 pages because it's really intense. It's basically about these two girls, and it's back in, like, 1958 or something like that, and it's basically when segregation was a thing, and basically they're in this small town, and they're trying to do integration, and the courts or whatever just ruled, and there's, like, this group of African American teens coming from this other high school, and they're integrating into this other into Jefferson's, and our main character, Sarah, she is one of them that's integrating, and she has to do this project with one of the girls that already goes there, and her name's Linda. And basically, they're just, ugh, it's just crazy and terrible some of the time, a lot of the time. But I really enjoyed, like, seeing how Linda's point of view and her opinions and beliefs change, and how she starts realizing, like, how fucked up things really are and all that stuff. And yeah, this is just a really good and powerful book, and it's got a female romance in it. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I just thought it was, like, super intense, and, like, maybe I wasn't in the right mood for that, but I mean, it was really good, and I highly recommend. Like, very good. Let's see. The next book I read was Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. And you guys, I think this is my favorite book I've read all year, which is insane. You're probably like, Jessica, that's not a fantasy book. Jessica, why are you reading so much contemporary? Jessica, what's happening? And I'm just like, I don't know. But no, basically, Leah is, like, the most relatable character I think I've ever read. Like, she's literally me. Like, so me. Like, there's this point where she says, my hair is almost red, and I'm like, how can she get any more me? And then there's, like, this other point where, like, this guy points out, he's like, you know, you cuss a lot. And she's like, fuck you. And I'm like, that's me! And she also has this other thing where, like, she's talking about reading dreary fanfiction, and I'm like, it's me! You know? And I almost feel like Becky Albertalli, like, low-key stalked me, and, like, what? You know? Because I can't believe that there's a character that does so much of the things that I do, and, like, talks like I do, you know? And I just, and, like, how much she cusses and says fucking and everything, and I'm just like, how is there someone that is just so me? And I loved it. I just loved it so much. And, like, even the way that she goes off on one of her friends for something, like, that's something I feel like, that's something that I would do, you know? I just feel so represented by this character, because that's what she's me. She's me in, like, all my quirky and weird and crazy and stupid ways. Like, it's me. Like, hi, me. I'm annoying, I know. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the romance in this. Like, this is getting a lot of mixed reviews, which is like, okay, I feel a little attacked. Like, just because it's like, if you don't like Leah, that means you won't like me. But no, I'm playing. But it's so good, you guys. And I just really, really enjoyed, like, Leah, obviously, because I enjoy myself. But no, I really enjoyed, like, I love the fact that Leah has such a great relationship with her mom, which is something that I don't have. So there you go. There's a difference for you. And I loved how the relationship aspect was done. And I love, like, some of the stuff she said about, like, being bisexual and how, like, some people, like, they don't fully get it, you know? And, like, there's this point where she's, like, where Garrett and Abby are, like, talking at the lunch table, and she's there or whatever, and she says this thing, like, you know, be jealous, be worried, but be something, but, you know, like, because basically talking about how if it's a girl, the guy doesn't think that counts, and, like, just, I loved this book, like, with my entire heart. I read it so quickly, and I love it so much. I love it so much, and I want everybody to read it, and everyone to love it, and it's the best. It's so good. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about it now. Okay, bye. Alright, and then the next book I read this month was, the next 3 are actually the books I read for Dewey's 24-hour readathon, and that is The Legend of Shadow High by Shannon Hell and Dean Hell. I read the Ever After series by Shannon Hell, and I super enjoyed it. I love these books. They're just so cute and so much fun and so quick. And my girl, Madeline Hatter, like, oh my god, and it's so funny because the narrator in this, she's like, my favorite is Madeline Hatter, and I'm like, girl, same. And I love because there's this aspect in the book, you get to a certain part, and it's basically like a choose your own adventure. Like, you get to decide stuff. And that's the first time I've ever read a book like that. It was so much fun. I was like, I feel so powerful. Yeah, so this was really great. And I really enjoyed it. And it was great. And I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because awesome. The next book I read was Black Butler Volume 3 by Yana DeSable. And I love Black Butler, you guys. And this one was following... it's basically continuing the plot of Volume 2, which is about Jack the Ripper, and like, oh man, I love the Jack the Ripper stuff, and I just also love Sebastian, like, so much, so much, and it was just so much fun, and it was so interesting, and like, I could not believe what ended up happening, so it was great, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. And finally, the last book I read this month was By Your Side by Casey West, and this is a book that my friend got me like a while back, and I'm just now getting around to it. But it's basically about this girl that gets locked into a library over the weekend, and it turns out that there's this guy that she knows from school that gets locked in there too, and he's kind of got the bad boy thing going for him, and they kind of get to know each other, and it's super cute. It's got some great anxiety rep in it that I really enjoyed. I love her boots, and like the boots kind of have like a little plot, so that's funny. But yeah, I really loved this book, and the main reason I wanted this book was because of the whole getting locked in the library thing. I'm like, heaven, can you tell me about it? But no, it was really great. I really enjoyed this book, and I highly recommend. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I read it in like a total of like maybe 4 hours or so. And that is all the books I read in the month of April. This ended up being way longer than I wanted it to be, and I'm sorry, and blah, 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 blah. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me what you read this month. Tell me if you liked it. Tell me if you love Leon Offbeat as much as I do. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later.